Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Coffee, Books, and Rain, where we have coffee, we do have books, and we have actually some rain. And I'm so very excited to be able to record this evening with all three of our favorite things. Now, we have more than three favorite things, but that's okay because those are our three favorite title things. So we also have our favorite bread. Well, we have bread, which was one of our favorite things, and it's fresh bread because I baked it myself. Is it perfect? No. But is it fresh baked homemade bread? Yes. And so I was sitting here just stuffing it into my face before I started hitting record. So I will not put it into my face and give any of you guys any misophonia while I'm recording. So I'm going to try to avoid that if possible. So if you have that, I will avoid stuffing bread into my face as long as possible. You're welcome. Anyway, hi and welcome back. I am having a really great day. It's just been a pretty decent week, and realized as I was going to record this next book for you guys that I thought it was due here in September, due in October, but you're gonna get it early because even though I usually try to release these episodes a little closer to their due date or their publication date, this one is just going to come out early because I liked it so much and I binge listened to it through an audiobook. Now, I had this audiobook and ebook, but I really love being able to audiobook, listen to the inflections that the narrator does, and kind of be able to continue about my day while I'm listening. So the book is A Dark and Secret Magic by Wallis Kinney. And this book actually does not release until October 8th of 2024. It is approximately 300 pages in hardback, and I had the ebook, and so it was somewhere around, I want to say 311 in my ebook. But I think it was also around 11 hours in my audiobook. But really enjoyed it. I want to say kind of cozy witchy vibes with a good undertone of romance. So kind of encompassing all the things that are perfect for fall. So let's go ahead and dive into the summary and see what we think. A spellbinding tale about a witch and the secrets her coven has been keeping from her, with echoes of the classic Hades and Persephone story in the tradition of practical magic and Witch of the Wild Things. Hecate Goodwin, Kate to our friends, has curated the perfect life as a hedge witch, living in a secluded cottage with only a black cat for company. She spends her days foraging herbs from the Ipswich forest, gardening and creating tinctures to sell at the apothecary she owns. Most evenings pass without her speaking to another human being, and an arrangement she quite prefers. Kate's solitude is thrown into disarray when her older sister Miranda reaches out and asks her to host her coven's annual Halloween gathering. The day marks the beginning of the new year for witches, and it's also Kate's birthday. The pressure from her coven to make the evening memorable mounts as the event draws near. To complicate things further, a handsome man from Kate's past turns up at her cottage, asking for sanctuary. It is Kate's duty as a hedge witch to honor this request. Much to her dismay, Matthew Cipher is no ordinary lost soul. He's a practitioner of forbidden magic, who's tricked Kate once before, and her guard is up. As she juggles Matthew's arrival and the preparations for Halloween, Kate comes across an old tome shrouded in dark magic. She is horrified when she realizes the blood-red inscription is written in familiar handwriting. her recently deceased mother's. Bum bum bum. Afraid to even touch the dark magic her mother secretly studied, Kate can only turn to Matthew for help. Her idealized memory of her mother begins to distort as she and Matthew grow closer. Kate has to reevaluate whom she can really trust. So, there we go. I mean, there is a little bit more, but I think I've kind of given you the bit of a gist as to what's going on in this book. And it's really cute. So the summary does do a pretty decent job of keeping it fairly surface level. Hecate Goodwin is a hedge witch. She is one of 3 sisters. Her sister Miranda is older than her, and her sister Celeste is younger than her. Hecate, is the middle daughter. And in her coven of witches, it is supposedly decided that at your 13th birthday, you get to pick which avenue of magic you are going to pretty much ascribe to. And yet, on Hecate's birth, her mother is kind of the one who chooses Hecate's path of being a hedge witch. Her mother is the one, I believe her mother's name is Sybil, says that Hecate is going to be a hedge witch. And so Hecate has no choice, but from that point on, she's told she's going to be a hedge witch. And so Hecate, or Kate, again, to her friends, Kate is accepting of her fate, though everyone else around her has been given a sort of choice. Like her sister Miranda kind of has this sort of sea magic. She's got siren song, and she kind of scries with sea glass and things of that nature. Her sister Celeste does tarot decks and things of that nature. Hecate is a hedge witch, and she's pretty good with it. She can do tinctures, and she's able to do rudimentary things with like potions and such. But apparently when Matthew comes into play, Hecate doesn't know all the ins and outs of what it takes to actually be a hedge witch. And so Matthew actually asks her some different things regarding, like, does she know this about being a hedge witch? And Hecate's like, no. And so does she know X about being a hedge witch? And no. And so Matthew starts asking her about these various aspects of being a hedge witch. And the answer is frequently no, because there are certain aspects that she should know, but she doesn't know. And it's very concerning to him. And yet, Hecate feels as though she's at a loss because she didn't realize she had gaps in her knowledge with regards to what her mother did and didn't teach her, because she thought she knew what she knew. She feels pretty good with regards to her potions. Her mom has a pretty good book that she left behind. Now, she is one of the few hedge witches in her, I think she's the only hedge witch in her coven, so she doesn't really have anybody else that she can ask. There's a couple I think there's only one meta magic witch, and so the meta magic witch is a witch that can only, like, kind of funnel magic away from people. Like, they're a very, I guess, a very powerful witch, and that's Winifred. And I do love the fact that the names for the witches are very almost tropish. So Hecate, is it's a fairly common witch name. Celeste, Miranda, Sybil, Winifred. They're names that are very common that come up in, I guess you could say, witch lore, witchcraft lore. So I do love that. I love that these names are common witchy vibes. So I don't think I don't think Rachel is a common witchy vibe. But sadly, I don't think. If I were going to be a witch of anything, I would hope it would be a witch of coffee. Maybe I can make a good cup of coffee and help soothe people's soul by making a good cup of coffee. Anyway, Matthew walks into her life about 6 days before Samhain, and he literally walks into her life. Like, he doesn't drive a car, he doesn't bring horses, none of that. Shows up on her doorstep, muddy boots, all this sort of stuff. And she's very confused because he's not sure. She thought he broke down somewhere. But no, he shows up kind of muddied on her doorstep, said he needs sanctuary. And as a hedge witch, it's kind of part of her code or her creed, I guess, to offer sanctuary to those who need help for a period of time. And so she's like, okay, yeah, I guess, but she does recognize him for who he is, which is a necromancer of one of more of an adversarial cousin on the Pacific coast. And now they're the Atlantic coast, so they're like opposite coastal like areas. So they don't really have a reason to mix. But he's now shown up, and the last time she saw him, she was like, I don't know, it was like 20 years ago, and it didn't go so well, and now he's just shown up on her doorstep. And so she's very confused, and she's got her guard up, but apparently her guard's not super up because she falls in love with this guy within like 4 or 5 days. So her guard is flimsy at best. Her guard is maybe made of styrofoam at best. I'm just saying, because if you can fall in love with a dude in like 4 or 5 days, it's not that much of a guard. I mean, he must be gosh darn hot. I don't know. I mean, I know some magic's involved. I know Samhain's involved. There's stuff. But darn it, I don't think I've ever crushed that hard on a dude and fallen that hard in like 4 or 5 days, because they didn't even reach 5. Like, they didn't reach all 6 days yet. Anyway, we are still working our way towards Samhain because something big is supposed to happen on Samhain. And anyway, the king, I think it's King Under the Hill, something of that nature, has apparently placed a kind of more or less, he's kind of claimed Hecate as his, but she doesn't really know how or why or when that's happened. It doesn't really come clear to her for quite a while. So that's a whole thing. And she's still got to prep for this witches' coven that's supposed to happen on Halloween. And it's very interesting. So kind of switching gears just a little bit, her older sister Miranda treats her like a servant. That's a whole basket of family trauma that we really need to unpack. Like, I'm not going to unpack it, but maybe a therapist needs to, because when I was reading some of those parts between her and Miranda, like, Miranda treats her like some sort of second-hand paid servant. And I was just not okay with that, because I was like, what in the world is going on? This is your sister. This is not a servant. This is not someone who works for you. But their interactions for like a good third of the book were more like, did you get the directions? Did you get, like, okay, are you, like, you're going to meet the deadline? Like, it was not sibling-like. It was more like a boss to an employee. And I was having issues with that so hard. Like, more than the fact that we were having some sort of like Dark Lord from under the hill like coming up on Halloween, I was having issues with the siblings. I have a really lovely brother who, if he ever tried something like that, he is younger than me, but if he ever tried that, he is taller than me but younger than me, and I would still have to put him in his place. Like, we're not having that, buddy. We're just not having that. His name is not Buddy, but that's what I call him. We're just not having that. We're gonna talk like we're related because we are. And I mean, the whole thing was very transactional. I was not a fan. So if I were going to critique any part of this book, it was Miranda's transactional relationship with her sister, because she shouldn't, like, I don't care who you are. I don't care what you're writing. Do not write your sister like a transaction. I don't care if she's supposed to be your head witch of your coven. She is your sister first. That was really grating on my just entire person. But Celeste, the younger sister, didn't seem to do that, so I really appreciated that. Yeah, so Celeste kind of made up for it, but Miranda was kind of a bitch. And so, yeah, there were points where she just kind of deserved what she got, but maybe didn't deserve all of it, but she was still kind of a bitch. My 2 cents. Anyway, book played out the way that I like. The book played out well. Still give it really good reviews. I definitely give it 4.5 stars because I was really enthralled and kind of like towards the end was really wondering how it was going to play out, especially as some of the weavings kind of like unwove, so I could kind of figure out like how it was all going to come together in the end. I needed to know how it was going to come apart so it could come together. But yeah, no, I really liked it. And again, this book comes out October 8th of 2024. Now, yes, this review is going to release a little bit early, but I ain't mad about it because I really had fun reading it, and I hope you have fun listening to this episode because I had fun recording it for you. And anyway, until next time, I hope you guys have an awesome or continue having an awesome spooky season. I love the spooky season. It is my favorite time of year. And continue to have your coffee or hot chocolate or whatever is your favorite warm beverage, cold beverage, whatever is your favorite comfort beverage. Have as much of it as you like. I mean, I will have as much of my comfort beverage as I like. I mean, is it healthy for me? Who knows? Probably not, but I'll be happy about it. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next page. Have a great one. Bye.